Thank you. Well, first I want to say that back in 2011, Roman and I and two others co-founded GamFed. So we had this vision of a community, and I don't think you would have thought that almost 10 years later, we would be like over 100 people in a room talking about gamification and other subjects. So I'm very pleased with that. So I want to talk about gamification and AI because we talked about the future, we talk about convergence of technologies, and very often today with marketing customers, I find that AI is a topic. Of course, it's a trend. As Rob said, we see it more and more. But when you talk about gamification and AI, the main thing is about data, because data is the common denominator for both technologies or both approaches. With data and gamification, you create engagement, loyalty, and personalization. I'm not going to, nobody will be surprised with that sentence. But with data and AI, you collect, you store, you analyze, you infuse to feed the algorithms, you predict, and you engage. So how does this whole thing work together? So when I talk about AI, I like to talk about human augmented, meaning that a lot of people are scared of AI, and when we first launched Aibo, and that's the reason why I brought Aibo with me today, is I was part of the team that created Aibo back in 1996 with Sony. They started in 93, I joined in 1996, the first product was out in 1999. This one was launched in 2003. I'll give the demo at the end because if I start now, nobody will listen to what I have to say. And when we launched this, we decided to create a dog rather than a humanoid. Biped humanoid, because people were scared. And still today, when I get the dog out, people say, oh, it's full of AI. Will it replace me? I even had one guy in Manchester once, I was doing a demo. He came and broke Aibo's head because he said, I don't want this dog to ever replace me. So we need to be very careful because you hear a lot of things and you can read a lot of things on the internet or everywhere about AI. And if you think about AI as human augmented, then it's different, meaning human is very important. It's at the heart of everything that AI does. And so we'll ensure engagement through AI because we are going to have several user experiences that are going to be optimized. For example, we're going to compensate from the lack of attention with AI because we're going to know when people are the most optimized, if I could say, like what time of the day are they going to behave in a very optimized way, meaning like when they have a campaign in front of them, will it be at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, will it be at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, based on all the data we're going to collect, we'll be able to know that. We'll ensure also the mood is at its best, depending on what people do and their behavior on the web. We'll ensure game mechanics are chosen and personalized for everyone. Then we're going to see also for optimization of gamification-focused algorithms. For example, we're going to get the best campaign at the best time for the right people. We're going to get best rewards for the right campaigns and the right people. Anything that you've heard from this morning, basically we'll be able to manage. Some people will like badges, will like points better than others who would like to have recognition. For example, we're going to get best engagement based on personality analysis because, again, with the structure of the data that we're going to create for AI and use that for gamification, we're going to be able to monitor an extremely large amount of data. You've all heard about big data and unstructured databases. This is what I'm talking about here. We're also going to have an optimized environment for campaigns and programs. We'll ensure prospects, customers, are in the right setting to participate. We'll ensure campaigns are relevant, and we'll ensure machine learning helps programs to improve and get more engagement. The same way with Aibo, when we launch, and I'll show you when I do the demo, if he doesn't do something right, for example, if he misses his ball when he plays football or soccer, if you're in the US, then Aibo will learn that the angle he chose was the wrong one. That's the machine learning. And again, at the time when we started Aibo, and I'll go back on that, we had absolutely no other competitors on this, so we had to reinvent the wheel, or invent the wheel, as we speak. Again, AI will ensure loyalty because you will optimize user experience, as I mentioned. The AI-backed algorithm will know buying patterns based on all the historical data again. AI-backed algorithm will know interest in products and services. And AI-backed algorithm will make all approaches relevant. Then we'll optimize gamification-focused algorithms because, again, we will offer the best buying experience for the right person. We'll help customers to choose the right product, and we will predict buying behavior and fantastic experience. You all know Amazon, and this is what Amazon does now on a second basis, always using AI to make sure that at least you have the best user experience. Optimized environment for campaigns and programs. Basically, we will be able to change the campaign or the program real-time, based on real-time information. Will you ensure that all campaigns and programs details are personalized, like avatars, game environment, goals, objectives, rewards, type of gamers? And we'll ensure good ROI and loyal customers because experience will be second to none. So gamification and AI, basically, to me, is an optimal experience. And you can see that more and more now with at least all the gamification platforms that you find on the market. So adding these two to digital transformation, I'm going to give you a very brief example of a company that I helped about 2 years ago, a Chinese chemical company. I cannot give the name because digital transformation is very sensitive. Companies don't like their competitors to know what they are doing. But adding gamification for helping mindset change and AI to make sure that at least all the transformation and all the tools that are used are personalized and ensure loyalty and engagement. So adding these three elements, we were able to do a proper digital transformation program. What's digital transformation? I think you all know, but it's basically a company that decides to start change the way they work. For example, when I was at Sony, we used to sell boxes. You know all the Sony products. I'm not going to go back on them, but we needed to change the experience from selling boxes to selling solutions. So that was our digital transformation, and we had to go through years and years of really painful exercise where we had silos. Within the company, we had several branches, the camcorders, the TV, the cameras, PlayStation, all of these, Walkman, all of these were micro companies or mini companies because we still had quite a lot of people working on that. And digital transformation was to ensure that all the silos would basically break and that we would use all the product, all the information, all the data throughout the company to ensure that our customers will benefit from it. So the questions that we were able to answer with this chemical company is, why is digital transformation benefiting from gamification and AI? I think I just mentioned and explained why in terms of engagement and loyalty. Why do companies go through digital transformation activity? Well, today, let me tell you, at least with a big company, if they don't do that, they're going to be dead very soon because they need to improve on the margin situation, which is always a challenge, and they need to improve on UX. In the US today, I think you all know that, but if you have any problems with the company will answer you on Twitter, and so for that, they had to obviously change the way people worked. They don't respond to phone calls anymore. Of course, we can debate whether it's the right thing or not, but at least I can tell you I had a problem with United Airlines 3 weeks ago when I was in San Francisco, and the only way I could contact United was on Twitter. So, but they answer very quickly, I have to be honest. What can you do to have a successful, or to be successful, sorry, in digital transformation? Obviously, there are many things that need to happen. And one of the main things is to realize that digital transformation is not about tools. It's really about mindset. And changing mindset, meaning working with management to ensure that at least throughout the company, everybody will understand that. Digital transformation is made, again, of people. And people is at the heart of everything, again, for any digital transformation. But again, people being augmented will be able to get more results. And what attitude, behavior do you need to be successful? In all my experience with many companies, and here I'm only going to mention one, but with many companies, what attitude and behavior is flexibility, is openness, and is transparency. These were the three main main attitude or behavior that I was expecting from people in those projects. So here the case study, very quickly, big chemical company based next to Shanghai. They had huge factories and everything was done manually. So they had operators that would look at a screen all the time. You had alarms going off all the time, and what they would do is they would press on a button and make sure that at least we'll realize that whether or not that action would make any sense. So some people really, I mean, the job was so boring, it was unbelievable. I spent a day with them, and it was just like, oh, there's an alarm, ping, and the rest of the time waiting for an alarm to go off. So that obviously, and sometimes if the alarm would go off and the action of pushing a button was not enough, then the person needed to go, and sometimes like a mile away, and turn a valve. That was it. So bringing IoT, Internet of Things, bringing AI, bringing big data strategy helped us. First thing we did is we worked on augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality, where we could train these people, and that's a very important point with AI, is that, yes, we could replace these people behind their monitors, but what I stressed very strongly with the Chinese management is that the fact that I didn't want these people to be fired. I wanted them to be invested in, so at least they would learn something different, and they would have a different job. And that's why we did a lot of training using this technology, and so they could see and they could learn. We had the whole factory mapped in 3D mapping, and using AR, VR, and MR, they were able to check what would happen if, for example, they didn't turn the valve in the right direction. So sometimes the factory would explode on the VR glasses. So using that technology already was a huge game changer, because the training they had before was that just press on that button. So these guys, that's all they knew what to do. They pressed on the button. Then we use games, again, to train operators to use the technology and react appropriately. As I mentioned, so the games were based on the mapping, the 3D mapping that we had. And the games were like, we're giving them points. They had a real-life game that they would go inside. They would meet friends, they would welcome new people. So that was very changing for them. You need to know that Chinese culture is really about games, so a little bit like the Japanese as well. We had internal challenges to engage them, to make sure that at least they would all be interested in the change, and make sure that at least they could see some return in the challenge. And we had some innovative and disruptive ways to engage and change minds. Again, these games that we created for them were really different, and so that really helped them to transform the business. So, again, gamification, AI, digital transformation, all this you've heard about. Just wanted to give you a quick update on this, and wanted to spend a little bit more time, especially if we're talking about engagement, trying to engage you a little bit more around Aibo. So a little bit of history behind Aibo before we start the demo. So started in 1993. We, at the time, had absolutely no real-time operating system. Aibo is an AI-based robot that's totally autonomous. I'll do the demo. They always say, when you do a demo, try to avoid children and animals. I have both in one. So I cannot guarantee what he's going to do. I cannot guarantee how he's going to behave, but we'll try our best. The first Aibo ever, I'll give you a picture on the next slide, was from it started at 6 legs. Then we had 4 legs, and we had a biped, which I have a video of, because I fly with EasyJet, and even already flying with this was a challenge. So if I had a 2-legged robot, it would have been fun. It is still the first ever AI robot sold as an entertainment machine. And Sony's goal was really to say, AI is going to be our future. You know, Sony was, Walkman launched in 1979. Of course, we had no idea at the time that Steve Jobs was going to come out with another product like this. But without the Walkman, we wouldn't have had the iPod. And Sony realized that AI was really a big deal. And so in 1993, they invested over $100 million which at the time was really a big deal, with people that were really involved in mathematical algorithm, and that's how they came out with Aibo. Still in the Guinness Book of Records for the fastest selling electronic item, and it was sold in selected shops around US, Europe, and Japan. So depending on where you're from, but in Europe we sold it, France, UK, Russia, and Turkey, if I remember correctly. And it was a huge challenge. Why? Because again, that was digital transformation, but digital transformation for resellers. Again, 99, the first Aibo we launched, gamification didn't exist, but you're going to see that we thought about how to engage people with colors, with way of behaving. But also, we had not anticipated, and we made, on this one, we learned the hard way, that people would create an emotional bond to their robot. So whenever Aibo would be broken, they would send it to the Aibo, at the time we called Aibo Factory, but then we changed the name to Aibo Clinic, because we received letters at the beginning. We used to send a letter like, your TV is broken, we fix it, we send a letter saying your TV is fixed, Aibo's fixed. Well, I got many, many letters from people saying, hang on, my Aibo is not a thing. My Aibo was sick, you cured my Aibo. So at the beginning, I thought, one person, two person, 3, 4, 5, and then after a while, I said, well, actually, these people have really created a bond with the robot. So we had to change. We had Aibo doctor, who was an engineer, basically fixing Aibo, but I was the Aibo doctor working in the Aibo clinic. So we really had to reinvent ourselves. We were Sony, at the time, the largest electronic company in the world, and we didn't know how to sell a product that could work. Whenever I used to go to Dixon's or any type of shops that would sell Aibo, that was the first reaction from people. How can we sell a product that moves? What's the point of sale going to look like? Because if you have a table like this, obviously Aibo will see that there's a drop and should not jump. Sometimes I've seen him jump, but hopefully he will not today. But people could just take it and leave. In the shop, the salespeople are busy, they don't pay attention. So they could just take it. And so we had to protect Aibo. So we had this kind of table with a round plastic thing around with a hole, so at least people could talk to Aibo, because Aibo understands about 100 sentences, and at least he needs to bond with you with the voice. We had voice recognition back in 1999, which was also a big challenge. So we had to reinvent the way we sold Aibo, the way we repaired, the way we did the customer support of Aibo, the way we marketed Aibo. So that was a big challenge for us. As I mentioned, 6 legs. That was the first Aibo ever. So a little bit bigger than what we see. And we had also other prototypes that I found from the Sony shops. So I'm going to start giving a quick demo before Rob stops me. So turning on Aibo, he's going to, I'm probably going to switch my mic off. If you I can see a bit looking at this time.
We have like maybe time for one.
I have a video.
You have a video.
I wanted to show everyone a
So if we have any questions, we'll make it in the networking session that we have after the panel. We'll talk about that in a bit.
I just wanted to show you the video of the biped, because again, that was something that the biped has 3 OS that keeps the biped balance at all time. One OS is made for the balance, one OS is for the AI, and one OS is made for the movement. And you're going to see how it works. It's just means game. The pink one means game. The orange one means fire. So they are scared of orange. Just to conclude very quickly, yes, I've showed you what I believe is the future of AI, or at least the past and on the path to AI. However, and I mentioned the fact that humans are at the center of everything, and this is what's very important. To me, today, something is missing. I know I know that Huawei is working on it, IBM as well, but like giving conscience to a robot is something we haven't been able to work on yet. Empathy, same thing. Intuition, same thing, which makes humans still far ahead of the robots. Feelings, human touch, and many, many others. So to me, AI is yes to human augmented, where human still plays a role, but not only the one to program AI algorithms. I am done. See, so I'm sorry.
Nicolas, thank you very much.